Hey good people, it's Ricky here for The Frugal Photographer, and if you shoot Canon full frame, Lightroom is ruining your photos. For reasons that I don't understand, Canon uses a RAW file format that's different to every other manufacturer. And what this means is when you go to edit your files in Lightroom, Adobe Camera RAW, Capture One, almost any RAW converter, your files get processed poorly. They could be processed way better, but they're not. And this creates all sorts of problems. Now, I am going to, in the future, show you how to fix this. However, a lot of people, for whatever reason, refuse to acknowledge that this problem exists. So all I'm going to show you in this video is this problem, the extent to this problem, and how it affects nearly every full-frame Canon camera. So let's go take a look.
Look at this image here with me. So this is a really good image, right? Well, let's zoom in here. And immediately it's obvious. Look at these huge green and purple spots that are going on. Now, this can't be lens flaring. This is not chromatic aberration. You can even see it in his pants. I can see it a little bit over here, but not as strongly. So it seems to be correlated with shadows, right? Well, what's going on here? And what's crazy is that this photo was taken at 100 ISO. And this looks like the sort of noise that I see when really super heavily recovering shadows, but that's not what's happened here. So what's going on? This was taken with the 5D3. Is this a problem with the 5D3? Let's look at this photo taken with the 5D2. So, you know, good image. Coming over here, and maybe this is just because I've been looking at these spots all week, but you can see these purple colors here. If you're having a hard time seeing it, maybe you can see it better now. All these little purple spots, right? Snow's not supposed to be purple. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, this is pretty subtle. This isn't that hard to edit out in Photoshop. What's the deal? The deal is this photo was taken at ISO 100. This should not be a problem at ISO 100. So one of the crazy things about this is it's correlated both with shadows and with when you raise your exposure. Both those things increase the problem. So if you have a dark image like this where you want to raise the shadows, things can get really super out of hand. So if I go to raise the shadows, right? Let's raise it a lot because it's a dark image, something like that. Now, when we zoom in, the hills are crazy. I mean, look at these colors. It's absolutely insane what's going on in the hills here. So let me just exaggerate this for you real quick. Now you can really see all of these spots all throughout the hills and all throughout the forest, right? It's crazy how much color splotchiness this is going on. And yeah, I would expect to see noise, and maybe in really heavy shadow recovery, I would expect to see a little of this, but this is seriously extreme. Now, one of the things that's craziest about this is, okay, here's just a normal photo, right? Taken 60, ISO 100. But I don't have to push the file that hard. I don't have to make that crazy of an edit to see the problem, right? So if I come to contrast and I raise the contrast, which is a common edit to make, and then I go to saturation and I increase the saturation, which also is a common edit to make. Now in the sky, look at all this purple and green that we're starting to see. The purple is the strongest, but I'm seeing all these purple spots, purple splotches. Here you can see green strongly, and purple and green, and purple and green, and purple and green. And I can even see some green spots in the board here. So it's crazy to me that I didn't have to edit this photo that crazy, and suddenly all these spots are coming out of the woodwork, and suddenly all of these spots are starting to show up. And this is shot under ideal conditions. So if this is a dark photo, if this is a high ISO photo, this problem's gonna be significantly worse. It's insane to me that I'm seeing this problem with not minimal editing, but reasonable editing at ISO 100 under ideal conditions. So here we have a great photo taken on a 5D Mark IV at ISO 100. But if we zoom in here on the road in these shadows, I'm noticing some pretty prominent purple and green, and maybe it's prominent to me because I've been looking at this so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help y'all out here real quick. Raise the contrast and the brightness, and then add some saturation. Okay, and now you can see it, right? I shouldn't be able to this easily get this level of file degradation from a 5D Mark IV shot at ISO 100 with not that significant shadows, right? This is pretty insane to me. So now if I turn off that, can you still see it? The purple, the green. Now, again, I don't think this is a significant problem. One, I think you have to be looking for the problem in this particular photo to see it. But it's crazy that it's showing up under ISO 100, and that in this photo, if I were to raise the contrast and the saturation, I would then have to deal with this problem, right? So no, it's not always a problem, but it's absurd how little effort I have to go to find the problem in a normal exposure under normal conditions at 100 ISO. Okay, so now this is a 5 DSR, so we're in high resolution territory, so we gotta zoom in really far. Now, this rock, I don't think this rock is purple. Maybe some of this yellow-green stuff might be moss. It's hard to say, but this purple, I am really confident, does not exist on this rock. So here I'll exaggerate it a little bit. I just don't believe this rock is purple. And I can see some more spots around here. So again, this is a properly exposed photo at ISO 100, and in the camera brand known for its great colors, I'm seeing problems with colors. Again, right here, this is not a shadow, this is a midtone. But here's a photo from a 5DS. All right, so now we're not in ideal conditions. We're in bad conditions because this is a poorly exposed photo. It's too dark, right? But I can tell you right now, without doing anything, we have some crazy colors going on in the sky up here. So if we come in, this is absolutely insane. We got all kinds of crazy colors going on. If you're having a hard time seeing this, because again, I have been spending way too much time looking at this, I can raise the saturation and the contrast, maybe the brightness too, to exaggerate it. And I mean, check this out. Look, green, purple, all kinds of purple, green spots, green, purple. It is absolutely absurd to me. Oh, here's some purple. It is absolutely absurd to me how poorly this camera is performing. So if you're a Canon shooter, you may be asking, okay, what cameras can I shoot to just avoid this problem? I don't want to deal with this problem. What can I do? Well, completely mind-bogglingly, the 6D Mark II doesn't seem to have this problem. So this photo has some really dark shadows in the trees and his pants, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to raise the shadows a lot. I'm going to raise the shadows even further than we did on our 6D Mark I image. So now, this doesn't look good, right? Because the 6D Mark II doesn't have good dynamic range. So horrible noise. This is pretty embarrassing how bad this is for a full-frame camera released in 2017. However, what you will notice is that, yeah, maybe there's a little bit of color spots, but this is what I would expect to see with significant shadow recovery. This makes sense to me. What we were seeing before does not. So one option is to shoot the 6D Mark II if that's a camera that you're interested in and you're willing to deal with the poor dynamic range and this kind of noise. Now, another option is this problem does not seem to exist on Canon's crop sensor cameras. So this is the SL2 on the right and the 6D on the left. They are shot with the exact same settings. Maybe the SL2 has some really slight discoloration areas, but you can see that not only does the noise performance look better on the SL2 with significant recovery, but it just doesn't have this problem.
So now you may be wondering, what can you do to avoid this problem? Well, you can shoot the 6D Mark II that doesn't have this problem. You can shoot crop sensor cameras that don't have this problem. Or you can change your editing workflow. And I'm going to talk more about that in my next video, so stay tuned for that. But I'm also going to link you to an article that shows you how to do it. It's really technical, and maybe it's not your favorite way to learn. So if you prefer, so stay tuned. Next week I'll walk you through several solutions. Unfortunately, none of them are amazing, like you can still do this in Lightroom. No, you're not going to be able to use Lightroom, Adobe Camera RAW, Capture One, any of the big RAW converters. They're going to let you down. But there are ways to get significantly better image quality out of your Canon RAW files. So I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.